further back, so it looks
Evening, everyone, and welcome to Grumpy Old Reds. Transfer talk, new signings. Let's get into it. Hi guys, hope you're doing well, and welcome to your Thursday night Grumpy Old Reds. Coming up, we're going to talk about the pen to paper with Jair Cunha. Matt Turner still leaving Forest. A link to a left back that just scrub is the first word that comes to mind. So plenty to discuss. Of course, we got to start with offering our condolences to Jota, Jota's family, his brother Andre. Very sad news today. I know I've said a few things on previous videos, but I'm sure the guys want to pass on their condolences themselves. Yeah. I see a lot of you guys in the chat are as well.
I just wanted to make a quick point. Sorry, can I just make a quick point? We do have to spare a thought for Nuno as well. I do believe it was Nuno that brought him to the UK to play for Wolves, and I'm sure he's got very, very fond memories with him, and he's got a great connection. So spare a thought for Nuno as well. But obviously for his family, and our best wishes go out to his family and everybody involved with the club as well.
Gibbs White as well played with him, I believe, at Wolves. I think they would have crossed over.
Absolutely. I know there will be a lot of our players who would have met him in social circles, but he's a fantastic player. It was one that I would, it was always a bit of a thorn in the side when we played them. But bless him and bless his family. Go on, sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say I actually felt physically sick when I heard the news, and quite numb. I think we all talked about whether to do tonight's show, but we felt that we should go on, But it's a tragedy. And the fact that, he was 28 years old, his brother was 25, 2 weeks married, 3 young kids, just had the best season of his life, won the I know this is all unimportant in the grand scheme of things, but it all builds up to show what a loss he is. And, it's just terribly, terribly sad. And how his parents cope, I wish them nothing but love, because to lose one child is unimaginable, but to lose two in the same instant, I don't know. I feel for them so much, and everybody else that love those guys. From what I've read and heard since, they were genuinely two nice guys as well. I know, everybody says that, but Jota used to do a lot of work outside of football that he didn't have to do. He got he didn't make a big hullabaloo about it, and he just seems a genuinely nice guy, and it's just sad. It's just terribly sad. It shows you how fragile life is.
Yeah, absolutely. There's something, I don't know if anyone's spoken about, just as a nice thing on Jota. He was one hell of a FIFA player as well. He used to play in FIFA tournaments and everything. So honestly, one of the best FIFA players I've seen. So
It wasn't bad in real life.
So talented on the pitch and so talented off the pitch.
We used to fear him when he used to be on that bench, as we know in the last game. But when he was on that bench, when he used to come on, everybody used to go, "Oh no, that's it, we're done."
Mark of respect, isn't it? Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. It's out of respect, of course. Yeah,
exactly. Okay, so look, it's life, isn't it? It's one of those things that we all suffer with loss. We all suffer with things. But I think I've just really liked, if I was going to put a positive spin on today, I really liked what I saw with the Evertonians, the way they united with the Liverpool fans. Yeah, absolutely. But it's just nice.
Football fans can be the biggest rivals, say the worst things about each other, but when it comes to some things like this and other tragedies, then we're as one.
Exactly. And as I said earlier, there's more to life than football. But let's get on and talk about the football, because there is a lot to cover off. Something that, lifted my spirits today, boys, was the pen to paper on Jair Cunha. This has been on and off for the last couple of weeks. Rumors saying that he wanted to stay at at Botafogo. But it's done. 5-year contract, £10 million. And let's just address the elephant in the room first, right? And you're being called out here. Newcastle.
Yeah, it's got Elanga on the back.
Wait, what happened to your Palmeiras?
Only one star. Only one star.
Yeah, only one star. Yeah, yeah. Well, the Palmeiras top will be coming back out when
Rios
Nilo stays,
or when Rios gets signed.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Anyway, so Jair Cunha signed. What are you saying on this one, Rob? 5-year deal, young gun, looks very good. Good signing.
I think it's an absolute steal at that price. An absolute steal. Once again, I'm a little bit nervous. I'll believe it when I see him in a Forest shirt, as with all of these Botafogo players that we've been, you know, 1 minute I hear we've signed them, then the next minute I read that we're moving closer and whatever, or we're pursuing them. So, I mean, now they're out of the World Club Cup, maybe we'll, you know, get a bit of an unveiling ceremony with him and Jesus, which would be really nice. I think with the two of them, we've signed two of the real up-and-coming talents of Brazilian football. And, you know, when we consider the likes of who we were looking at 4 or 5 years ago, it's a complete different world, isn't it? Now, in response to your particular dichotomy, I want him for the start of the season. I would bring him in straight away because for me, I think he's already going in at number 3 in terms of our defensive pecking order. I know we've got Bolly. I know we've got Morato, but, you know, and I know we've got Carmo coming back. But as far as I can see, I don't think Carmo is going to fit in. He didn't have a successful loan at Olympiacos, all told. And, you know, Omobamidele's gone. Morato, well, we saw his limitations. I want to see Cunha, and I think we've got plenty enough game time to give him with the 4 competitions that we're in. Plus, I could see him coming on in. He could be the new Morato. He could be like the good Morato that comes on and we lock it down because
you're forgetting Tyler Binden, and this is a player that I'm actually looking forward to.
Yeah, but I'm excited about Binden as well. But let's just be aware that Jair Cunha has just been playing at the World Club Cup, whereas Tyler Binden's been playing at Reading. So I would say that they're both top quality players, but it just means that for me, Cunha is like Prem ready, right? He's already had a pre-season, if you think about it like that. And I do also hope that by having him in there, it might help to change the way that we play, because, you know, I'd like to have more than 30% possession. And, you know, he looks really good with the ball at his feet. And, you know, I think it just gives us something that we haven't so much had.
I don't know. I'm sensing a little bit of negative. Well, and tell me what you think on it, because I think he's overhyping him a little bit too much.
Yeah, Rob's doing what he always does. He gets turned on by these Brazilian players and makes out the world beaters having seen precisely 3 minutes and 20 seconds of play from them. I mean, you know, we had Miguel should be immediately.
Sorry, I have to stoke it a bit, Rob. Sorry.
Whoa, it's a bit early for the ad hominem, isn't it?
I'm sorry. I'm bored already.
My feeling about the guy is he was 8 million quid. My feeling about the guys, let's see. Simple as that. I'm not going to pretend to think he's going to be a world beater. And, you know, Rob's claiming he's going to change the way we play football, and you know. I love Rob, but he is a bit of a delusional idiot. You know, I don't think he will come straight in, and I don't think he will change the way that Forest play football. That's my opinion. We're all entitled to one. Rob's got his, I've got mine. Hey ho. But I'm okay with it. I'm not excited by it. I wasn't particularly excited by Murillo coming either. Why should I be? He played 13 games. However, look how that turned out. So, you know, having said I'm not that excited by it, there's a bit of hope in the back of my mind thinking, let's hope we've got.
I got to call you out on that, and in a positive way. You were excited about Murillo because me and you were the ones saying drop. We were saying drop McKenna, McKenna, put Murillo in.
There must be,
but that was a hard decision.
Actually, you're right. There must be, somebody else. Must be somebody else I'm thinking of. Tyler Binden again. I'm probably more excited from what I've heard and read about him. I'm probably more excited about him. You know, but again, Rob is correct on what he's saying about it's a lower standard of football. probably about equal to the Brazilian league. If we're honest, the Brazilian league's not. Although they're doing very well in this World Cup rubbish, where teams that have played 10 games of their season, had a preseason, played 10 games of their season, are playing against teams that have played 50, 60, 70 games already this season. Don't forget, in heat of 35 degrees. Yeah. So, let's be a little bit realistic about what it actually means when you see these matches played. I started watching the match. Thought, is this a friendly? There's nobody in the crowd. The players are just passing it about. I thought, what is this? This is not a competition, is it? Oh, you get how much? Oh, if you win this game, you get another 15 million on top of that you've already got. Nice. We know what the reasons for that Club World Cup is. Let's not overblow it. It's fucking rubbish, right? It's shameful.
I want to bring Ben in.
FIFA are filthy, corrupt liars.
Hey, don't start firing shots at FIFA, man.
Yeah, the game goes for the game.
Wait, Anthony, Forest are invited to the Club World Cup or qualified for it.
Of course, are you mad? Have you seen how much money they get just for turning up?
Exactly.
I'm mad because we're not part of it.
Because let me go to bed instead. I'm going to catch up on the super chats. John with the 199 says Richard Rios wants to come to Forest. Get him signed up. He is a baller, man. I would absolutely take him. I've seen some of those reports, John. I haven't been able to verify them yet, but I hope they're true. Shout out to you, John.
Rob, I'm very, very skeptical until I see that shirt being held up.
Yeah, on Rios, I'm not sitting there saying he's put pen to paper. He's not.
Yeah.
As far as I know.
I mean, the Lyon winger.
Well, come on to it and chill, man. I still got Ben hasn't even said a word yet. He hasn't even said hello yet.
Go, Ben, go.
Anthony with the 3 months. He goes, like Meatloaf sang, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Yeah. It's so easy to read with glasses, man, but I feel so old. Turning 24.
Yeah, your reading's improved. Well, you've been able to see the words improved, although you still get half the words wrong. But anyway,
yeah, that is true.
Yeah, his vision's improved, but his reading hasn't.
My vision's improved.
I've got a bit of advice. Slow it down a bit. A bit and get.
It's not that. I need one eye on this screen, one eye on that screen, and a third eye on that. It's just like it's crazy.
Well, you're not gonna be bending over in the studio.
You third eye, bro.
There was also, I can't see it. I'm pretty sure I saw, there it is, my man Jay with the £5. Thank you, JJ. He goes, evening fellas, hope you're well. We can bring it in Cubano as well instead of that crap from Leicester. Well, we're going to talk about that. Big up to you, Jay. Thank you so much for the £5. Ben, I got to ask you this question, right? And this has got nothing to do. Wait, is this a little bomber? Newcastle have sent a 55. Is that legit, chat? And thank you, Stone Rose. I appreciate it.
I get it.
I'll look at it. I'll have a quick look. But I got asked this question. I want to know the answer from you guys in the chat. Okay, it's legit. I've just had it sent. Okay, it's breaking news. Wait, if we're gonna do the whole breaking news, let's do it. Let's do it properly, right? Breaking news. Hey! Newcastle have sent a 55 million bid to Nottingham Forest. That's what he's written.
I'm gonna say this is like been in the red light district. Why are you?
Yeah. All right, fine. You want me to go? Shall I go all Sky Sports on you then? All right. Yeah. Breaking news. Breaking news.
Take your top off.
Newcastle have sent a 55 million bid to Nottingham Forest with a Y. It's not the glasses. That's what Romano said. For Anthony Elanga today. Negotiations underway with Newcastle now pushing to get it done.
So that's 44 million for the same old story to me. United.
Ben, I said, and then I hear three voices. Go on, Ben.
Well, look, first of all, I'll apologise to Evan. Yeah, you have my full undivided attention now. We've been working, and one of my colleagues had just messaged me and says, "Can we start working now and watch GOR?" Because we've been working all day. It's been a stressful week, so you can have my attention now. Yeah, I'd like to say as well, like, rest in peace to Jota and his brother. Obviously, it's awful what happened, and it sounds as well like a tragic accident. The police were saying that potentially one of the tires exploded, which is awful, really, that something like that can end their lives. So Rest in peace to them. I mean, on the Elanga thing, it's weird, isn't it? Because they just keep upping their bid by £5 million every time. I think it started at 40, then it went to 45, then it went to 50. Now it's supposedly 55. For me, and I don't know the answer to this, but for me, I want to know, does Elanga want to leave or does he want to stay? Because I think he's a great player with a huge amount of potential. He's one of the fastest players in the league. He's only going to get better. But for me, the deciding factor, it wouldn't be the money that he brings in. It would be, does he want to stay at Forest or does he want to go to Newcastle? And I don't know the answer to that question. So whoever does know the answer to that question will hopefully make a good decision. But 55 in terms of monetary value, I would say that's pushing to close where he is. However, he's only going to get better. So, we're not in a rush to sell him. He might be worth 60 next year. He might be worth 65. It's unlikely that he's going to get worse. So, I don't think we should take the money. I'd keep him personally. I think he's got a lot of potential there.
Well, I can answer your question for you. Elanga is not looking to leave, I think. And I choose my words carefully.
I think we'd have heard
rumors that he wants to.
The rumors are coming out in Newcastle, man. That's where the rumors are coming out from. They're the ones who are saying he wants to leave, right? From what I'm being told, there's no one at Forest.
I can't imagine he wants to leave because he's part of that little. He's part of that little.
Let me take it a step further. There's no one at Forest that is actively seeking to leave Forest.
Yeah, but we
ought to report this bid as the net now. Just to finish my point quickly, one more thing. I was going to say, if you sell him for 60 million, whatever, 55 million, who do you replace him with in that position? Who you can get? Who you can realistically get? Who do you replace him with?
I get Yilmaz on the right and Fofana on the left. Job done.
Well, we'll talk about those later. We're not there yet.
Yeah, but look, we should stop reporting this as a 55 million bid because we should report the net figure, which is 44, because we have to give. Well, no, it's 11 million to Man U and 44 to us, right? Because they get.
You get that figure.
Right, how does that work then?
20% of the profit?
Of the profit.
Profit, yeah.
So you got to knock 15 million off first, then do your maths, and then report the figure.
All right,
then add 15 back on because we did actually pay 15.
8 million.
8 million, yeah. Okay, so it's 8 million. Doing this maths quickly, so it's a 47 million pound bid for us,
which isn't enough.
No, Rob, because it cost us 15 million. Don't forget.
That's what he said. That's what he said.
I'm saying that the club put a valuation of 65 on him, but for me that would be the net valuation. For me to let him go, I'd want to get 65 after Man You've had their payoff. Do you know what I mean? I think that the way that they structured that deal is structured against us ever selling him. Do you know what I mean?
It smells of desperation to me.
By the way, I've got a question about that, which is if let's say we gave him a new contract in a couple of years' time, is he covered by that 20% forever? Because
no.
There must be a statute of limitations on that, right? That doesn't normally
happen. There will be some detail in there, Rob. There's normally, because often you find out
sunset clause or something.
It's only till June of this year, and stuff like that. But I wouldn't say that. Yeah, you're going to laugh at me, and I don't care. But try and follow my logic. I wouldn't sell him for 80 million because we have to. We don't want to break out this team up.
Yeah,
get rid of one of our better, more effective players without any guaranteeing of being able to replace him. Now, if we went out and bought a young winger for 15 million and in the coming season he proved to be better than Elanga, by all means, sell Elanga. I'm not in the process of making money for my club. I'm in the process. Of making the team better. That's what I want. The team to be better. Money means nothing. Having 80 million in the bank means nothing to me.
We said this last time. You see a lot of fans on Twitter saying, "I'd take him for 60. I'd take him for 70." What's the matter to them? I don't get it.
Exactly. Whether it's 50, 60, or 70, Ben, you're spot on, mate.
We're not getting.
The only concern I really have over is that it seems Newcastle must be getting some sort of encouragement for them to keep coming back in. I don't know why Forest don't flat out say. Yeah, but why don't Forest just flat out say, look, if you don't meet this target, don't bother coming back to the table. Increasing it by, like, I think Crypto's just said, by 5 million at a time, it's almost taking the piss. And what I don't want to happen is for this to be dragged out and then we end up settling him because we get the right offer right at the end of the window when we've got no time to do anything about it and get the right players in. So deal with it now, Forest. Make a stance. Set a bid that you're happy you're going to accept. Anything less than that, don't even bother coming back to the table. But do it now and otherwise end it, because I don't want this to carry on into the start of the season and certainly not into even pre-season. These kind of players are, what Ant said, essential for us to build as a team, as a squad going forward for the next 2-3 years. I don't want to be losing any of them. And like, I think, Wolfie, you said, none of them have hinted that they want to leave. So why would we want to be trying to
what type of salary do you think Newcastle are willing to offer him, though, compared to Forest?
This is where they're probably trying to save money on the transfer fee by being able to pay a ridiculous salary, because I'm sure they'll be looking to double what he's on now. You know, like Rob says, he needs a new contract, and we need to be tying these players down. We did this buy, keep, and sell a couple of weeks ago. That should have been added. Anyone we are keeping, we should be improving their contract and giving them a reason to stay. Because
I'd be very surprised if at the end of
giving
this,
them a reason to go. Sorry, go on.
Sorry, mate. I was going to say I'd be very surprised at the end of this if he doesn't come out and he's signed a new contract. Because that's normally how it goes, isn't it?
It has to happen.
Elanga's not going to come out and say anything, because the cards are in his pocket. The aces are up his sleeve. He knows he goes to Newcastle and gets a big pay increase, or he stays at Forest and gets a pay increase.
Yeah, I mean that sounds like a bit of a conspiracy theory. Like his best mate works in the Newcastle recruitment team, and he's saying,
if Elanga came out and say, "I love Forest, I'll stay forever, and I'll play for him for nothing," Forest would say, "All right, then play for us for nothing." Then,
yeah, but don't forget. I think the one thing people forget sometimes is that none of these players, probably apart from Ryan Yates, is a Forest fan. So
is Ryan Yates a Forest fan?
The heads can be turned.
Yeah, Ryan Yates. It's from Lincoln.
Have they stopped talking about Harvey Barnes as a possible make weight, by the way?
Yeah, this is just straight up one deal. What is said though is
why would they get rid of?
I know it would make it a lot more acceptable for me if he was coming the other way.
Doesn't Barnes play on the left though?
But
doesn't Barnes play on the left?
Actually, when you think about it, it would reduce the profit element.
Right.
So we have to give 20%
off.
Sorry,
left.
Yeah.
I'd actually take.
It's not a like swap, is it?
Look, with Harvey Barnes. Hold on. I got some more info here.
Sorry, my camera's died.
Okay, so it says this coming from Craig Hope. Hold on. Breaking news. Newcastle on the verge of agreeing deal with Forest for Anthony Elanga after £55 million offer. It's been a while since we've had like breaking news while we're live. Exciting. So it's looking more likely.
Huh? What did they offer last summer? Because they did make an offer, and I thought it was
40.
Was it 40?
Yeah. Some say 35, some say 40. I think it was 40. Some were saying 50, but I think 50 was too high.
To, I guess, flip the argument for a moment. There were a few points in the first half of the season where each one of us said, "Why didn't we just take the 40 million?"
It was crap.
Yeah, I know. He came good in the second half of the season. That's actually. Do you know what?
So can we nail this down then?
More impressive because his stats, which was what was it, 18 GA last season?
17.
That was all loaded into one half of the season, wasn't it? Because this is
the thing. When he gets hot, he's red hot.
Yeah, in a way, he's had the inverse season to Chris Wood, because Chris Wood was really strong at the start of the season, and then in those last 2 or 3 months, he really tailed off. But then Elanga had a very slow start to the season, and he finished in great form, and he was playing as a major striker. So I think the problem is that if we sell Elanga now, we're selling a form player as well, because I felt like he was a bit of a carry for us through that last part of the season. You know, particularly in the Ipswich game, for example, and the brilliant goal he scored against Man U. So we would be selling the wrong player for the wrong price at the wrong time. So I don't know where the went from.
Can we try and nail the money situation down? So if this is true, 55 million, so it immediately goes down to 40 million because of 15 that it cost us. Yeah, we're just very simple math. Let's not be complicated.
Just assuming that it's from the profit. Now, they can be from the total sales figure, but most of the times they're off the profit.
That doesn't make sense, does it? Because you've already received that money.
Yeah, but
as a selling club, you've already received that 15. Why should you get another percentage of that?
What I was saying with Barnes is, let's say we did it as like a swap deal for like Barnes and 15 or something, then we've made zero profit. We don't have to pay Man U anything.
Let's stick to what we're being told, Rob.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is that
just before we do, let me run us all through this article. Okay, so just give me 2 seconds. Let's bring it through. I haven't read it yet, so we're gonna have to see how it goes. It is the Mail Online, but they have been working this story for quite a while. So let me just bring it up and boom.
It's a good point in the chat. What did we get for Johnson in the end?
47 and a half.
47 and a half.
Okay, let's run through this. So Newcastle make improved 55 million bid for Anthony Elanga as Eddie Howe nears breakthrough in pursuit of key target. Newcastle have made an improved £55 million offer for Anthony Elanga, are on the verge of agreeing a deal with Forest. The Magpies saw a package of 45 million rejected last week, but we understand there has now been significant progress in negotiations. Personal terms are not thought to be an issue, although there could yet be interest from elsewhere. Aston Villa is said to be monitoring the situation. That was creeping up a couple of days ago, but it didn't really look that serious. Elanga 23 has been a long-term target of Eddie Howe, and there was a failed approach to sign him last summer. Newcastle boss is an admirer of the right winger's pace and output. He scored 6 and assisted 11 in the Premier League last season, but he also sees scope for big improvements in the Sweden international. If the deal does go through, Elanga would become Newcastle's first signing of the summer. Here it is. Manchester United also owed an estimated 15% of the profit from any sale. So that's a different figure now, but it's another verification on the profit.
Patch Adams has made a good point in the chat, which is that we should take his amortization value. So if it was a 5-year deal for 15 million, then you'd do the book value of 9. So
no, but this will be on the sale.
Is it?
For Man U. It'll be on the sale for Man U, yeah.
So it'll be on the original value.
Yeah, it'll be 15 mil. So it'll be X minus 15
I don't want to give them any money. I just don't want Man United getting any money.
All right, let me just finish this and we can discuss it. So his former club Manchester United are also owed an estimated 15% of the profit from any sale. He joined Forest for 15 million in 23, scored 11 times from 82 appearances. Chiseled body. Forest would be... Huh? Forest would be reluctant to see Elanga go after he contributed 6 goals and 12 assists in their brilliant season. The fact that he has 3 years left on his contract means that Marinakis club are able to command a significant fee for him. Elanga began his Premier League career, Man U, blah, blah, blah. Elanga can play across the front line. We know all this. We've watched him plenty of times. Shown promise, blah, blah, blah.
Cutting out.
Okay, so this was the quote. He goes, "It wasn't easy to leave United. I've been there for 9 years. Okay, still padding out. At the end of the day, I have to think about myself. That's all Man U crap. Okay, I think that's it. Okay,
yeah, because Elanga's saying nothing.
You know, Elanga got quoted after an international game. Oh shit! Hold on. Oh my god. Okay. Talk while I remember what button I need.
Well, I work out that means that Man U would be entitled to £6 million, which means that Forest profit would be 34 million quid. Let's hope we can go out and buy somebody for that.
Oh yeah, I've still got the breaking news light on. Sorry, that's probably given epilepsy. At 15%, it doesn't seem as steep, does it?
It's 6 million quid.
20%.
It's 6 million quid, mate.
Yeah, I've had 20% pretty much from the off.
I don't want to get anything out of pure spite. Like I was happy to take a points deduction to stop Brentford getting Johnson for 25 million. It's just I do not want Manchester United getting any money out of this. And
okay,
who
but Rob,
Rob,
I hate them probably more than you do, right? But if that money facilitates a Yilmaz and a Fofana and everything else,
well,
does
let's
it really
sign them
matter?
first, shall we? Let's
but
sign
it's
them
not
first.
doing, is it?
I'm with Rob.
Because
Let's get these players in first.
we have no pull.
Yeah.
Let's sign them first, and then he can go.
Oh yeah, I had to get that out. I'm getting quite.
Well, let me
annoyed.
put the poll in the chat. Would you sell Elanga for 55 mil? Let's put that poll out. Eds, what's your reaction to it all then? So it's starting to take a little bit of heat.
I said a few weeks ago that we're still a club that maybe not every season, but every other season might have to sell one of our star players to really compete and carry on competing, which is I still contest with, but it just feels different when it's the alliance teams coming in for our players. You know, the likes of you've just mentioned, obviously Newcastle and Villa also sniffing around him. You know, that doesn't sit right with me. You know, I know our players are going to attract attention, but why shouldn't we hold out for the big bucks? If we talked about the Brighton model many a times, they don't sell their players for cheap. You know, they get big bucks out of it, and why should we be underselling any of our players? We don't need to. That's the main thing. We don't need to. So unless there's a push from Elanga or there's some sort of interest from Elanga side, but obviously you always say, I think Ants alluded to it, the players haven't said anything. The players don't tend to speak out, you know, when the matter's still in going through. So I'm a little bit concerned. I don't think we need to sell him, and I don't think the price is right from my point of view. We should be holding out for the big bucks, and I'm talking 80+ million. I know it sounds stupid, but why should we be underselling our players when we don't need to, and we need to be building? We've got a European run ahead of us, a European campaign ahead of us, and it could be in the Europa Cup still. It's too soon for me to be selling the key players from that season, and he was a key player from that season. We've discussed about Chris Wood, whether he could still do something this season. 100% he could if he still got Elanga with him. 100% he could. Them two link so well together. Chris Wood losing a yard of pace will make no difference whatsoever, but losing Elanga will make a huge difference.
Well, I think Tom, big up Tom in the chat, was asking how much money does this give us? From a PSR perspective, has he been with us 2 seasons now? Is it 2?
Yeah, 2.
Okay, so he would cost us 3 million per season on amortization. So off the 15 million, that would be, we owe 9 million still on him. So if we got 55 million, what's 55 minus 9?
46.
46. So that's our PSR profit on him, would be 46.
But then you have to give 20% of...
I don't think that counts on PSR. That would count as cash flow, I think. I'm not sure 100% on it.
Basically, as I keep saying, it doesn't matter how much money we've got, we can't spend it.
Yeah, it's not the money, is it? It's not the money.
So don't think that because we've sold, people will literally, this is how people think, that means we can go out and buy a £55 million player. No, it doesn't. No. We can go out and buy more. We can go out and buy a £200 million player with that.
Yeah.
But he won't want to come.
Yeah.
Well,
nobody
maybe
wants to come to a crappy provincial club like Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, the only way
we'll probably be fighting relegation, especially if we continue to sell our better players.
The only way it would be better is if you bought like 2 or 3 highly decent players, but we don't need to because we're not having PSR troubles, so we don't need to sell him. We can buy 2 or 3 decent players anyway. We don't need that.
One thing that nobody's said yet, which is
you can say one thing, Richard. Like, this news is breaking, bro. I love you, but do you not want us to talk about what's literally breaking right now? I don't get it.
Can I add one thing? Because we've had various rows about, you know, when Mangala went and Danilo might go or whatever. I actually like Anthony Elanga. No one said this yet. I actually like him. He can produce special moments. No, he can. He's a player that can produce special moments. He can be infuriating, but he's one of those match winners on his day, and you sell those at your peril. You really do.
Yeah. Take him out of the team, Rob, and put in one of the backups in his place for the entire season. Jota Silva or Romans.
Exactly. Bloody Weah turned us down. Weah wasn't willing to compete with him, So we're not attracting the replacements. So that's the issue. Like Rob said, let's get the players in before we start shipping anybody out, especially of that quality and that essential to.
Well, that's why we need to find out.
If we were in negotiations and say it's getting close to signing Yilmaz or Fofana, they think, okay, we could afford to let him go.
But just in case he is watching, does anybody else want to agree that they like him? Because I like. He's not a player.
He seems like a nice guy, but I don't.
I know, but it's just we're talking about it in a very dispassionate way in terms of like what's our profit and how much goes to Man U. It's like
that's football, Rob.
I know, okay, but my gut feeling is I like him and I don't want him to go.
Well,
so,
I will tell you,
do not want to lose him. I've just said,
I'll tell you, as a person,
price tag on him to ward him off. I want to keep him. I do not want to be losing him. Not at least, certainly not next season. Maybe in a couple of seasons' time, but we can get a huge, even bigger profit off him. And like you were saying, with amortization and with, I'm sure it happened in the past, but the amount that of profit, percentage goes down after a certain amount of time that you're paying. So that might be in this deal as well. But either way, we do not need to sell him. We'd only be selling him if
why
a player
do
wants
people
to go.
always say, and this is no disrespect, Ed, because I often say the same thing, but why do people always say it's fucking football these days? Honestly, just think how much money we can make in next year or the year after. No, how about just think what he could lead us to do as a club next year or the year after?
And don't forget
what happened to football. Well, when did it
well,
become about money?
Don't forget,
to me, it goes hand in hand, because if he gets to that kind of value, obviously he's achieved something.
I understand what you're saying, but it's just the state of football at the moment. It's not what it used to be. And people can chide me for looking back, but I'm telling you what, it was better in the past when it wasn't all about money.
Newcastle
you used to get a player come in and you used to be excited to think what he was going to do for your club for the next 5 years. Not, he's coming brilliant. We'll make millions on him next season.
We got a club record.
Let me speak.
Crypto jump in, man.
Fucking hell. Newcastle are a rival club as well. Now, don't forget that if we sell one of our best players to a rival club,
it's a bit of rubbish.
I was told last season when I used to live near Stephen Reed that I can't remember what club it was, but the reason Worrell wasn't sold to a specific club of who I can't remember who they were was because they were considered a direct rival and they did not want to sell a player who they thought would improve the opposition's team. Well, Alanga would improve Newcastle, so that's another reason.
Good point. You should speak up more. Good point.
I should speak up more, but you lot are always chatting shit over the top of me. So,
don't swear, please. There's no need for it.
It's past the watershed.
Just quickly, we got over 500.
Watershed.
All right, now all of you shut up. We got over 500 in here. Only 120 likes. Please make sure you
come on,
like
you bunch of ne'er-do-wells.
Yeah.
Oh, I controlled my language then really well.
Hold on. Okay, more news.
Has it been sold? The hazard warning lights not really breaking news.
Breaking news: an agreement for Alanga is now very close. Talks ongoing tonight.
How does he know that?
That's from Craig Hope.
Yeah, how does he know that?
I don't care. I got to put the flashy lights on. All right.
No.
And I'll tell you how they know it.
Your reporting of it was excellent. I'm just questioning how this one guy knows all this information.
I'll tell you how they know it, man. Because
Ilanga's just said this. The Newcastle negotiators just said that to the Forest negotiator who said.
Do you want to know how, Anne? And I can tell you this from our experiences this summer. Agents have the biggest mouths in football. I know. Agents are happy to talk. Seriously, like how much info did we get on Jesus?
Well, you know.
No, they'll try and overinflate and overexcite, but I'm saying that's where the information is coming from. That's
what you said. I think he's gone. So I'm agreeing with it. I just don't want to believe it.
Do you think we owe Newcastle or they owe us? Because I mean, the first time round we got shafted with John Joe Shelby, and for a while we thought we'd been shafted with Chris Wood, and then that turned out.
We were shafted with Chris Wood. We were shafted with
that'd be the
Crystal
best
Palace.
900 million you've ever spent.
The important point is they thought they shafted us with Christmas.
Yeah, but then we reverse shafted them with Elliot Anderson for Vlachodimos, which has to be the best swap deal I've ever seen. Vlachodimos, who made a total of 0 minutes appearances for Newcastle, good value for £22 million. So maybe they're calling that in. Maybe they're calling that in, and I don't know whether
if they give us Harvey Barnes at 15 million, I'll say it's a fair deal.
Yeah, I think we need a bit of quality coming the other way.
I would have loved to have seen Harvey Barnes on the left and Elanga on the right. The way they want to see Anthony Gordon on the left and Elanga on the right, I would have loved to have seen that.
I thought Hudson-Odoi wasn't bad on the right for some games. You know that game against Man City.
It's not consistent enough, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, we're going to buy somebody else.
Richard's in the know.
So, is there a possibility that we're so close on Fofana that this deal is paying for it?
No, we're not.
Well, maybe we're closer than you think.
Well,
breaking news. No,
this Fofana one isn't going to be easy because of what's going on in Lyon, and that's now was meant to be tomorrow. That's been delayed to next Thursday. It's a complete mess, man. Honestly, they're like
the fact that proper clubs are in for him.
Pete, hold up, but Pete, you don't get to say that, Pete. He wouldn't pay over 35 mil for Elanga, you were saying.
Yeah.
He doesn't even like Elanga. He doesn't even rate Elanga.
Exactly, Pete. Yeah. So you're doing a handshake now on a good deal, man. You're Pete. You're just starved of signings, mate. You're like a freaking 18-year-old. No, I'm not gonna say it. You're just starved of signings.
You could have got Kudos for around the same price, Pete.
Elanga's been better.
I know. Yeah. But Kudos is a bigger name. Well, he was anyway.
You think Kudos is a bigger name than Elanga?
No, not now.
Nah.
He was, yeah. When before West Ham bought him, Kudos
when he
was
first
massive.
came, yeah.
Holland, man. What are you talking about?
No, but he was one of the top players in Europe.
He was, people were amazed he went to West Ham,
and a good reputation.
And a big club like Tottenham are after him now.
Jordan says Craig Hope gets all the top news on Newcastle. I don't know how, but he's been excellent 99.9% of the time. Well, Jordy too, it's not hard to be right 99.9% of the time when you haven't signed anyone. That's the thing. You haven't signed anyone like 3 windows. Big up to Marky Boy with the £2. He goes, Craig hate, not hope. He has been trying to crap on Forest a bit. He's been the one. I bet he's got commission on this deal. Shout out to you there, Marky Boy. Okay. I don't know. It's like, we got another 6 topics to talk about, and we're nearly 45 minutes into the stream. Do we need to move on and I'll keep you guys posted if anything's breaking?
Yeah, I think we got to do
on this.
Just flash the lights if more comes in. Just flash the lights. Just flash the lights.
Flash the lights. Yeah. 82% of you would not sell Elanga for 55 million. 18% of you would. Shut up, man. Okay, let's move on.
Saying, we do love him. We do like him. We don't want to lose him.
Look, for me, I would have sold Elanga until he scored against Man U, and that by default became my favorite goal. So
favorite player.
I wouldn't quite go that far. Okay, let's move on because we've got a lot to cover off tonight. Lyon, I want to just touch on this Lyon thing. I just mentioned it. This has now been kicked to Thursday. The expectancy is that what I'm hearing is that Lyon are going to be given a 2-week grace period to raise 70 million euros, and they will be allowed to basically overturn the decision and go back into League On. The expectation in general is that they will win their appeal, which will put them in Europa, which will kick Palace. The expectation is it'll kick Palace to the conference, not out of Europe, and Forest will end up in Europa.
Is that because of Brøndby?
They will supersede Brøndby under this subsection rule article.
A Texter club.
No, they're not a Texter club. They're another one of the other Palace guys.
Oh no, there is Stuart. What? Yeah. Okay, yeah. I know. Yeah.
So the rule is meant to be that the higher finishing club in their league gets priority. but there's like a sub clause 7.4 or something.
Isn't that a stupid rule, by the way? Finishing third in the Dutch league is not as big as an achievement as finishing fourth in the English league.
Yeah, well, they're in the Danish league. But, yeah.
No, I'm saying whatever.
I don't care in general.
I wasn't even thinking about that particular instance. It's ridiculous.
But the rule is that the fact they qualified for Europa will supersede that rule. How true that is or not, I don't know. That's what's doing the rounds right now. So this is coming out on Thursday. Now, on top of that, to add a further smile on your faces, it's still expected that if Lyon get their appeal, well, they win their appeal, Matt Turner's still going. They are still adamant on buying Matt Turner, even though they got 500 million.
Why are they paying 8 million quid when they're deep in debt? Why are they paying 8 million quid for a goalkeeper?
Because they're gonna be.
Why are you questioning that?
We need to get rid of Turner.
And sometimes you just got to accept gifts, right? You don't need to question it.
Definitely something dodgy going on between.
There is.
Remember, Vlachodimos was worth 22 million. So what does that make Matt Turner worth?
Well, exactly.
You're
Exactly.
Right.
Now,
cheap at half the price.
It is deeper than that, right? There is what you're saying there, and there's rumors right now of an agreement with Textor and Marinakis about Marinakis funding some youth program for them in Brazil and feeding those youth players into Botafogo. But the funding and the capital will be raised by Marinakis, which is why you're seeing this connection between Textor and Marinakis.
It all sounds very wholesome, and we shouldn't look into it too much. Just let it happen, and if it works out in our favor.
It's good to be friends.
It's all legal.
It's a win-win situation though, because if we help them and buy Fofana, for example, not only do we get a decent player, but we'll get that money back in by getting Europa.
And somebody's getting him.
It ain't us.
Well. No. I mean, somebody's getting him. Do you agree that he's definitely going to have to go?
Incoming, isn't it?
The most saleable asset. It's the most saleable asset.
We'll make our money back by getting Europa. It's fine. It's a win-win.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter what happens. We're not getting Fofana because a bigger club will come in for him.
Yeah, but Lyon won't accept their bid.
Maybe the bigger clubs are eyeing even bigger fish than him.
I remember the days when Ant used to think Forest were the biggest club in the world.
Listen, Ben, you're right, and I still believe we are the biggest and best club in the world. The fact is, I'm really frustrated by not getting Champions League, which has led us down this path of looking at players for 20 million. All right, that's what it is, frustration.
But I was a hater when I said that. Anyway, what I was saying to you there, Ant, you know how we can get Fofana? How about this? How about Lyon don't accept any bid except for Forest bid.
But what
our money is as good as anybody else's.
If says no, then that's the end of it.
Our money is as good as anybody else's, right?
No, our money's better.
The clubs don't care. The clubs don't care, Rob. The clubs don't care.
I'm saying if they
United. It's the player. It's the player that.
But the club has to accept. Okay, do you agree the club has to accept the offer?
Yes.
Okay. Right. Could Arsenal, Forest, and Chelsea all bid the exact same money? And Lyon turn around and say, Arsenal, we're rejecting your offer. Chelsea, we're rejecting your offer, but we're going to accept Forest.
They can do, but then they say to the player, do you want to go to Forest then?
Well, but Ant, if we're selling Elanga, that means Fofana's going to get a shit ton of game time. So that changes things. Yeah, whereas he might be going.
If Arsenal and Chelsea, I don't think Arsenal are in for it. For example, Liverpool and Chelsea, or even Man U and Tottenham. This is how far down the pecking order.
Too far.
I'm sorry, but Cunha's gone to Man U. Turned down Tottenham to Man U. So don't tell me there's no pull.
Wait, Anne. Who said yes to Spurs that scares you exactly?
Sorry?
Who said yes to Spurs that makes you worry about Spurs?
Nobody.
Is it Tell?
No, it's not Tell.
Okay. Is it Cobra Kai, the guy they're fighting? Okay, so why are you putting Spurs into this equation?
Because I'm depressed about Forest not being able to attract decent players.
So anyway, that's where we are with all of this. Honestly, the expectation is, even from Palace, that they're going to get knocked down to conference.
Yeah. Yeah, they're worried now.
Yeah. And I still hold my stance. I think both tournaments is as crap as each other. It's Champions League or bust for me. And
I'm not.
And
yeah.
do you think
it's Elanga on the back of this shirt?
Okay, and seriously, do you think say Forest get Europa next week? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think we can attract a better caliber of player than we're already going at?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
So you would think Fofana would come?
I'm not saying I agree with it, but I do think that some players would come for Europa, whereas they wouldn't come for conference. In fact, some players would probably prefer if we didn't have conference.
Okay, so why were Newcastle rejected by Mbumo and
because he wants to play for Man U. Because he wants to play for Man U.
Yeah, but they had Champions League.
Yeah, but they like tripled his salary.
Yeah, but we're not Man U. We're not going to pay anybody like that £250,000 a week. We ain't going to do it.
Exactly.
Okay,
they will pay him £250,000 a week.
Even if we'd got Mbuemo for like 45, 55 million, we would never be paying wages close to that. So yeah, it's right. Ant's right. We can't compete with that. We cannot compete.
When I say bigger, I don't mean better. I mean more financially able.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway. So what you lot saying about? So that's the background of the Lyon stuff. Add into that, Romano tweeted to say Forest have got an agreement on Fofana on a fee, but no player agreement. Only for that to be poo-pooed by French outlets to say they haven't even spoken about him. What's your take on this? Who needs to Ben? Like, where are we with Fofana? Do you believe Romano or do you believe the French outlets? And chat, what are you saying?
I mean, Romano's his hit rate's been a bit crap recently, but he's normally in the know. Like that's literally what everyone trusts him as. That's why people reference him. I think it'd be great if we got Fofana. My concern is he's more so a left-sided winger, and if we're selling Elanga, who's a right-sided winger, then we still don't have a replacement for him. So Fofana's a brilliant player. I'd love to get him, and if that helps, like I said earlier, if that helps us take some money off their hands and gets us into Europa, we'll make that money back anyway. So I'm not worried about spending money on Fofana. My concern more is that if we're going to sell Elanga, we need to go out now and find a right winger pretty nippy.
Yilmaz.
I think we shouldn't get too obsessed with who's left and right-sided because Nuno was switching all of the wingers round at various points.
That wasn't working, Rob. It wasn't working when this.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't working. And it was down to the lack of quality options that he had. That's the reason we were.
And don't forget as well that if we sell Elanga, not only do we lose our first right winger, our backup Jota is not that great, I don't think either. And if we're in 4 competitions next year, we need more players basically, but we need quality players. We need not just a quality 11, but quality subs. In the same way that the new defender could potentially be like first sub off the bench. We need that type of quality, but in every position, especially if we're in Europa.
This is why I disagree with people when they're saying, "Oh, I accept 55 million or 80 million or whatever it is," because as I keep saying, I don't care about the money. I want to keep. We should be improving this squad, not losing our better players.
Yeah, I agree. And they're young and they've got potential.
We've gone back to the same subject, really. But the fact of the matter is, none of us are happy about it.
We didn't get Champions League, and now we're selling our best players. And we haven't
I'm not upset if Elanga goes, boys. I'll be honest. I'm not upset. As long as what comes in is better than what we had, I'm okay with. Now, if they replace Elanga with a scrub like Weah,
yeah,
we all say that. We all say.
But that's the caveat, isn't it?
I don't care if we brought in somebody better. But the chances of bringing in somebody better are very, very small.
But I'll tell you what will piss me off about this is they're doing it the wrong way around. Because if you sell Elanga, let's just say the 55 gets agreed. Okay, you are now sending out beacon signals to the other clubs. When you come in for their right wingers, they last week he was 30 mil. We just saw that report coming out from FFTV. He's 50 mil this weekend. You know what I mean? They're doing it the wrong way around. Get the replacement in before you sell.
It has the reverse effect on the negotiations with the player because then the player thinks instead of having to compete with Elanga, I'll now be first choice. So it works both ways, doesn't it?
Do you want a player like that, though?
See, Richard's in the
I want a
know.
player who wants first team football, definitely.
And someone
Quick
who wants
question.
to get Forest.
Quick question. Did we bring Alanga in before we sold Jono?
No,
At the same
Jono
time.
went first.
Yes,
Jono
we
went
did.
first.
Yes.
No,
Oh,
Jono
there
went
was
on the
one
last
game
day
they
of the
played together.
season.
There was one game that they played together. It was in
Yeah.
the cup. I was at
Arsenal.
it.
Oh, okay.
It was
Okay,
it
got that
was
wrong.
a cup game. At home
Burnley.
against
Burnley.
We had both of them on.
Wow, I'm impressed, guys.
Well remembered. But yeah, so I mean, we did replace, I feel, with better in that situation. If we can do that again, I've got no problem with it. But that is the caveat.
Don't get Jono back.
Yeah, could we get Jono back? Come on, it would be so easy.
I would take Jono back. I would take
Yeah.
Jono. No. Let me say it before you. I would take Jono back at the right price, but I still would want somebody better than Jono coming in. Okay, he's a backup player. He's better than the backup.
There's so many
I
players
give
better
Jono
than
a lot of
Jono.
stick, but yeah, I understand what you're saying. It's better than Jota, isn't he? Jota
He's
Silva.
better than Jota, and we're losing Sousa by the looks of it as well. So
yeah, it looks that way. Yeah, he's been forced out.
Yeah, Sosa's been told to piss off.
Yeah, 10 million. That's not
Rude,
bad,
isn't it? That's rude.
Yeah. He said he didn't want to go, and he said, "Well, look, we won't be
Go on
playing."
in the
so
background
no.
with Sousa because he seemed really frozen out, didn't he? There was something. I
But
don't
Rob,
know.
did you see anything from him that really said he deserves another chance? Like, I think Nuno gave him his chance.
We didn't see enough of him. It's hard for a
And
player to
Nuno
come on,
Brian
especially in those positions.
Nuno must have in the background, obviously in training and stuff like that, and it's just something that's not sparked for him. But for me, nothing stood out for me to think he should have been given another chance. Sorry, go on.
But I know, but 10 million for Palmeiras is a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's a big in Brazil. That's a big signing.
Yeah,
so
but think about it. Who have they got that we want? I'm just saying. I'm just saying, you know, because there are reports saying that Richard Rios only wants Forest. He doesn't want Man U. He doesn't want Spurs. So I'm saying. I wish those reports are true, but I'll believe it. Okay, so that's the whole Fofana thing. Now, another thing that came out today that we got to talk about, and chat, I need your opinions on this one. Romano again at it, saying that Forest have put Victor Christiansen on their shortlist.
Oh yeah,
left back at Leicester, absolute scrub of a player, is my opinion of it. Would anyone take him? Ben, what are you saying on Christiansen?
I don't want any Leicester players in our team. Why are we buying or considering relegation fodder? I mean, come on, like we're supposed to be bettering ourselves. We want to try and get into a Champions League place next year. Why are we buying players like that? It's just not good enough.
I think Roy Keane was relegated with Forest and went to Man U.
Well, I don't care.
That wasn't even born, man.
That was about 50 years ago. Look, Nico Williams is a fantastic left back.
And what was that analogy?
We need to get someone who can. I'm a big believer that we need to get someone who can challenge. There is no way that guy challenges Nico Williams. We need challengers on the bench. Someone who can.
I would argue. Sorry, go on.
Play to a similar level, and he is not that. He is not.
I would argue we need someone better than Nico Williams. As great as
I think Nico Williams is really good. He's very
fantastic. But he's not even left-footed. I want a left-footed fullback challenging.
Yeah, but the thing is, you can say that all the time. Like you can say, I want someone better. There's always someone better. It never ends.
My crypto. My point is, that's what we can be looking for.
Unless they're number one in the world, and a number one in the world never going to join Forest, then there's always someone better.
Nico's not number one in the world. Nico's very good. But the reason Nico's made that position his own is because he didn't really have stiff enough competition. Moreno came in for a little while.
We need someone to challenge him.
Okay. But we need someone better than him. Honestly,
my point is, you could say we need someone better, but then you could say we need someone better than that guy next year, and then someone better than that guy next year.
Someone better than Nico isn't going to be a world beater. Nico isn't a world beater.
Right,
Nico is very good. I'm not knocking him down. By the way, guys, I'm not knocking Nico. I think he's fantastic. I think he was the most improved player, certainly under Nuno and certainly last season. But for me, he shouldn't be our first choice left back when he's not even left footed. He's made that position his own because he's had no competition. But we should be looking at far higher.
I actually very rarely disagree with Ez, but on this one, I think
go for it.
In my opinion, I think he's being a little bit harsh on Nico. I think Nico's.
That's not what I mean. But go on.
No, I know, because as Crypto and I often say, you always want somebody better. If you get somebody better than Murillo, you go and get him. But that's life. So yes, of course we'd like somebody better than Nico, but that goes for the entire team. You don't have people in there on sentiment. But I think Nico's been an excellent fullback this season. Just again, it's my opinion. You know, we can disagree without falling out, can't we?
After Ant, can I do my usual thing?
I just don't. Again, I don't see where we're going to get a player better than Nico Williams that's going to want to come to us. I've not finished yet.
Yeah.
He says, when Ant's finished, and I'm still.
You finished about 3 times. You finished about 3 times. Finish again.
It's very smooth and continuous.
Pause, and then it's like.
All right, let him finish.
So, yeah, I go back to the same thing. I don't think that we are capable of attracting a player to play at left back who is better than Nico Williams. That's why re-signing him on a new contract for me is an excellent piece of business. In fact, what we should appreciate this transfer window is not the fact that obviously we're lamenting the fact we've not brought many players in at the moment, but we're not losing many. Although it started with Anthony Elanga, it may accelerate after this. Murillo, last day of the season, Liverpool could come in and offer 90 million. They're crazy at the minute. Just one last thing as well. Fabrizio Romano, I wouldn't go too mad on him. That guy is now a paid shill. That's what he is. He gets paid by agents. He gets paid by clubs.
How do you
He's
know?
no longer an independent reporter. That's factual. He gets paid by clubs and by agents to spout nonsense.
So trust me.
Listen to what the idiot says. I'll give you an example. Fofana's coming to Forest. It's been agreed. What a load of bollocks.
Right, everyone clip this.
Wait, I want to believe that. I and you want to believe that as well, Ant.
Right.
It's true.
Yeah, but you want to believe.
Oh, yeah, you mean I want to believe what he said. Oh, yeah, I want to believe what he said, but I know the guy. It's Fofana's agent that's directly given him hard cash to put that out so other clubs come in for him.
And let's be real, he hasn't said anything on Jair Cunha yet, and we got it from the Brazilian boys. So
he won't until somebody rings him up and tells him to say it.
Go on, Rob. Let's say this.
Just to be clear, have you finished?
If you say that, he's going to continue.
I've concluded my opinion on those matters.
My segment.
So, look, first point, Fabrizio Romano, I don't believe him anymore because how many times did he say we'd signed Santiago Jimenez? And he lost all his capital with me on that because I'm sure he announced it about 3 times. And
okay, but to be fair to him, Rob, right?
No,
deals do change. Deals do change.
Yeah. All right.
Like,
anyway, more.
You know what I'm saying? Like a player can change his mind in the final hour when he doesn't like the terms of his contract. Or something.
Be like an MP, Rob. Be like an MP.
Or another club hijacks it last minute. But go on.
So just to come back to one of my favorite hobby horses, right? We need to keep that 11 together.
Dungeons and Dragons.
We need to keep that 11 together that played the majority of the games, right? And hopefully we can bring in 2 or 3 players this summer who are better than the first choice people we had last year, or maybe just even 1 or 2. But the main thing is to keep those 11 together because I think we've identified we couldn't really attract players of that quality from finishing 7th, right? Now, the point you have to ask about Christensen, look, he's only 22. He's a full Danish international, right? Is he better than Harry Toffolo? Is he better? Not is he better than Nico Williams? Is he better than Harry?
In the club anymore.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is, oh my God, it's the same point I keep making again and again, which is as we were saying with any striker that we're looking at, we keep trying to buy a striker that's better than.
Taiwo, haven't we?
Is he better than Taiwo? Right? Is he better?
Rob, they're interested in raising the floor. We're interested in raising the ceiling.
Thank you, Anne. But we should look. Is he better than Toffolo? Maybe. He's 22 years old. He's a Danish international. Don't let the
Danish internationals. Can you name Rob?
If you're saying to somebody, hello, transfer market, we would like a backup to Nico Williams. Now, who is going to say, oh, that sounds interesting? Someone who's just been relegated to the Championship, right? So I can see there's a certain logic in it. That's all. Not every signing is going to be better than your first choice. And that's why we didn't sign anybody in January, because we kept on applying this ridiculous criteria to it, right? So Moreno's gone and Toffolo's gone. So we need a backup left back. So we ain't playing another FA Cup semi-final with Zach Abbott at left back, right?
Yeah, I agree, but we don't need a Leicester reject, do we?
Yeah, let me ask you this, Rob. By your logic, is he better or worse than Toffolo?
Well, I mean,
can't believe you haven't.
Or another question: have you ever seen him play?
Toffolo played 1 league game for us last season, whereas Christensen, I've just checked, played 30 league games for Leicester, and he's a full Danish international. And Denmark are a good team. So
no, they're not. They got Højlund up front.
Okay, but right, we're not talking about Højlund. I'm saying that it is not a ridiculous link at the right price. Yeah, I'm not saying go and spend 35 million on him.
I was literally going to bring this point up from David. Wouldn't Kyle Walker-Peters be a better one then if you want to reject a relegated one?
100%.
He's a good player. Kyle Walker-Peters is a good player. I know he's getting on.
Very good player.
Also the Ipswich guy, what's his face? Leif Davis. What's his name?
Yeah, he's a good player as well when he's fit.
Yeah. Would they not be better than this crusty scrub?
They would for me.
Yeah.
I was not squeaking. You bloody rude out, chat.
My point isn't that he's
from. I've always found them remarkably intelligent and concise in their opinions. But
yeah, but my point isn't that he's from a relegated team, right? My point is he's an absolute scrub. I would take. There are players. I'd take Dibbling from Southampton. I would take
not a left back.
Maybe Leif Davis as backup.
Not a left back.
Jed Spence.
I'm just making the point of relegated players, yeah. I would probably take what's his face? Maybe Buonanotte from Leicester. Or what's the Arab called? Playmaker. I forgot his name.
On loan anyway.
Yunus or whatever.
Buonanotte wasn't their player.
Oh, but they're really good players. They won't come to us.
And it's on a depression level right
now. I really am.
This is my point. I think he's a scrub. What worries me more is this poll where 12% of the chat would take Christensen to Forest. 12% would take him for the bench. Because I even gave him the bench option. I didn't want people to say, yeah, I'll take him. And I said, yes, because of the bench. There are 12% of you.
And no sense
12% of you that would take him flat out. Flat out. So I don't know yet. I don't know yet. Ant is a County fan tonight.
It's the shirt.
Man, I'm not
wearing this shirt again. It's just
I don't know why you bought it. I don't know what you expected when you bought it. I've been wore it on.
Would anyone just
because my problem is I can't get my camera to go out. If I'm further back, you'd see.
Doesn't matter. It looks worse. What are you trying to say?
It still looks like a Notts County shirt. That's the problem.
Wait. What's that sponsor?
Super Grab. Super gas bras.
Super Grab. Yeah.
Wait, are you wearing a bra? Super bra.
Super gas bras.
Super Grab.
Super gas bras.
I'm sponsored on the side by ale. Just ale.
Just ale.
Hey, you going to get support from that super grass bra there, aren't they?
Anyway, bras, yeah, that's what it is.
All right, so Christensen scrub. Let's move on to the debate that has to be had here, right? I got called out, rightly so, in the comments the other day when I said there was a link to Evan Ferguson. By the way, it's a very weak link. I'll just put that out there, right? And I said, yes, I would take him because he's better than Taiwo. And I like the idea of Igor Jesus starting, Chris Wood back up, and you got Evan Ferguson who can eventually take over from Chris Wood. Someone in the car, I can't remember who, I shout out to them, said, well, hold on. Weren't you lot berating Rob's logic? I don't know if it was Rob's burner account. I can't remember.
It wasn't Rob.
Weren't you lot berating Rob's logic on someone better than Taiwo?
Someone not injured?
He is injured, though. If anybody's injured, it's him. In 4 years, Rob, he's played 60 games. Sorry, 68 games.
We're already doing
and
this
scored
for 5
13
minutes.
goals.
Get out what you need to get out.
Yeah, 4 years, 68 games, 13 goals. That's not good by anybody's standards for the amount of games he's managed to play and for his goal scoring record.
Hang on,
let me finish. He was looking promising 4 years ago. As a young lad, as a 17-year-old, you thought, wow, this guy's, because he's big,
2 years
he looks
ago.
good. Huh?
2 years ago. He scored against us.
No, not 2 years ago.
It was 2 years ago.
Wasn't.
He scored a hat-trick in September 2024 against Newcastle.
Oh my God, that means he's a world
That's 1
beater.
year ago.
That means he's a world beater.
What? Right. Hudson-Odoi was a very highly rated player. Then he had a terrible injury and he just couldn't get the opportunities at Chelsea. We picked him up for a snip. Was that a good decision? Yes. Right. So how is this any different?
Yeah, I don't think he's a great player.
Yeah, but Callum Hudson-Odoi was levels above Evan Ferguson.
Levels. I mean, you were talking Bayern Munich 70 million.
Right.
Not only that, Hudson-Odoi has not become a fantastic winger. He's okay.
Right. So
he's not fantastic.
He's won us a game at Anfield. Look.
Oh, for God's sake, you can't point to one-off games.
Yeah, you just
Kai Havertz scored the winning goal. Kai Havertz scored the winning goal. Hang on. Kai Havertz scored the winning goal in the European Champions League, right?
So
does that make you a
Francis,
fantastic striker?
Did Francis scoring make him one?
Disingenuous as well. When a load of those are substitute appearances, right? What's worked against Ferguson is yes, the injuries, but he's been kept out of the Brighton side by the unexpected form of Welbeck, right? So
what do you want?
Welbeck was very good in the first.
You're not helping yourself, Rob. How many goals did Welbeck score last season?
He fucking scored one against us. Right?
How many goals did you score, Rob?
In the first third of the season,
right, I'm going to check. If you're not going to answer me, I'm going to check. And I'm telling you what, it won't be many.
Look, I don't actually agree with Wolfie's valuation, right? So the point about Ferguson is it should be about what is the right price. Yeah. Now, if Brighton want to offload,
we're putting Fanny Welbeck by mistake. Sorry, right.
You weren't wrong. That was a mistake,
if Brighton want to offload, if we can pick him up for 10 or 15 million, I think that's good business. I would not pay the 30 or 35 that Wolfie was talking about. But you got to remember that.
I thought you'd gone insane.
How have I gone insane? How have I gone insane?
35 million quid.
I said 30 to 35.
That's still crazy.
Oh, all right then. 30 to 35 still means you'd be willing to go to 35.
Okay, what do they value him at?
35 million quid.
And what do they value him at?
I don't give a shit what they value. I don't care what they value him
28.
At.
So I was way off, was I? Dave came out yesterday and said they value him at 28. So I was miles off, was I?
No. You didn't say anything about what they value him at. You said you'd be happy to. You actually said I'd be happy to pay 30 to 35 million pounds for Evan Ferguson.
No,
you are insane.
Euros.
You said pounds. And I know you said afterwards to me, I meant to say euros. You said pounds.
I agree with you, Anne.
And I replied to you, if you remember, if it was fucking rupees, it'd still be too much.
I don't understand why Rob has this obsession with wanting to buy players who are worse than we've already got. I mean, I literally don't understand it. Well,
wait. Is he worse than Taiwo, Ben? Is he worse than Taiwo?
What, Evan Ferguson? Yeah, he's worse than Taiwo, yeah.
I don't think
he is worse than Taiwo. What's he done in the last 2 years? Come on, be honest.
Listen, this is what I say in this favour.
He's got 13 goals in 68 games, Ez. 13 goals in 68 games. All right, then, Rob, you made my point beautifully. I knew you'd fall into the trap. Appearances. The fact he's only made 68 appearances in 4 fucking seasons tells you.
Exactly.
But we got to remind ourselves, he's only 20 years old. He's still a kid. There's still a lot we can get out of him for the right price. And
but not for 30 million.
There's nothing in it to
not
get
for 35
out.
million rupees. No, for the right price, I would take him.
30 quid, maybe.
There's nothing to get out of him because there's nothing in him. He's a lump who had a good few games 4 years ago and got overhyped, massively overhyped.
16 then. So he must have been 16 when he did that. But
it was 17. He was 17.
All right, we'll get the chat to settle this.
Your maths is terrible.
Yeah, we'll get the chat to settle this. At the moment, 50% would not take Ferguson, 20% would bench him and 31% would take him. I'm just going to ask the straight up question. Who just said it in the chat?
£quid.
I'd take him at the right price.
Let's ask them, who's better, Taiwo or Ferguson, right?
That's a different question, isn't it?
I don't know how you can say Taiwo, man. I'm sorry, I don't know how you can.
Far better in every respect.
All right, how many goals
regarding injuries?
How many goals did Taiwo get this season?
Oh, I don't care if Taiwo got no goals this season. He's still better.
I mean, they both got the same one. I think they both got one goal.
They've got one goal. We're talking the difference between diarrhea and vomit.
Why do you want to bring a player in?
Wait, where did he go in January? Where did he?
West Ham. West Ham. Rob wanted to get him. I said it'd be a disaster. He played 8 games and scored no goals and got no assists.
Yeah,
I think
not
that was
8 games. 8 appearances.
Why do you have any appearances?
300 minutes. 300 minutes, right? 8 games is like 750 minutes.
So he wasn't good enough to start for West Ham then, who were fighting relegation. That's what we're saying.
Yo, the chat think Taiwo is better, man.
He averaged 49 minutes a game, mate. I've just had a look.
I'm going to leave that poll open. Right. Wait, let's just go around quickly. Simple
I won't
question.
take him at right price.
Wait, who's better, Taiwo or Ferguson, Ez?
Taiwo's better. Taiwo's still my guy, man.
Yeah,
but he's not going to come back.
Oh my God.
Taiwo. You'd
He's still my guy. He's not going to come back. But Taiwo is better, in my opinion. But Ferguson.
I'm going to say Ferguson.
Don't let him bully you. I know what he's bullying.
I would take Ferguson at the right price, and for right prices for me is no more than 25 million. I'm not paying more.
Wait.
Do you know what you get for 25 million?
He's
30 years old.
It's nearly like Sangare money, not far.
I'm money
25 million.
Hold on.
I'm money
what Premier
balling.
League striker?
Igor Jesus cost 20 million. How much did he cost?
10
million, and you want to pay 25 for that big pile of Irish?
How much do you think the cheapest Premier League striker would go for right now? Don't worry about how good a shit they are.
Homegrown.
Yeah, but you can't,
any grown, man. I don't care if they're grown on a tree.
They go for free. They go for free. They get released. They go for
That's
free.
what it's all dependent on.
How much did Eddie Nketiah go for last year, Ant?
What idiot did that?
Checkmate. Yeah, and who's better, Ferguson or Nketiah?
Nketiah's better than Ferguson.
That's all Nketiah. He's better than Ferguson, man.
All right, you just lost all credibility.
That's where I lose hand.
Because you don't understand. You don't understand how low my opinion of Ferguson is. So to say I've lost credibility is unfair.
No, because you just said you take Eddie Nketiah. You didn't say instead of
over Ferguson.
Okay, I'm just checking. Right, I've got to catch up with these soup shows. I'm keeping an eye on this poll. Hold on, right. So we've got Johnny Boy becoming. I've done. Well, thank you. Shout out to you again. We got Cunning with the 19 months membership. Big up to you, Cunning. Absolute legend.
Good job, you. We're working there, mate. Fucking hell.
Matt with the 21 months. Shout out to you, Matt. We got Poison Soup with the £5. I'll let Ben read this one out.
Bro.
I agree, Poison Soup. I agree. I'm not even going to read it out, but I agree.
What was he referring to?
There's just a nod of acknowledgement there of we got each other. Shout out to you, Poison Soup, for the £5. John says with the 199. I said on the video the other day 30 million for a backup. I saw that, John, and my point still stands. If our backups are 30 million, then the quality of our striker on the pitch must have a valuation of 50 to 60 million. That's the point. Raise the floor, automatically raises the ceiling. Kind of. Shout out to you, though, John.
Sorry, I have to bring logic into this. No, it doesn't.
Shut up. Isaac with the £2. He says Newcastle, new Elanga bid from Newcastle, 55 million from Fabrizio Romano. Yep, it looks like, according to all the messages I'm getting from an excited Pete, that things are progressing on that one.
A new bid means nothing, though, does it? If it's not to the club's valuation.
Yeah, but they're saying they're in this deep discussion.
If it is, then yeah, okay, they've done it. But don't get excited by a bid. Get excited by an acceptance.
No. What you have to understand is Newcastle fans get excited by bids because they're so used to rejections that a bid is like, Like a
not even making a bid.
Exactly.
Being rejected before the bid's been made.
No, they've had a few of those as well. Thank you, Isaac, for that. Mark with another £2. He says, I keep saying Ferguson is a sick note for his age. Okay.
Human beings, may I say, are not renowned for getting increasingly fitter and able to withstand injury the older they get. So having these issues between 17 and 20 is very, very scary.
So how does Callum Hudson-Odoi work?
So did Callum
Hudson-Odoi was injured a lot last season.
Was his injury record better at 23 or at 20?
Probably better at 20. I actually don't know the answer to that. I don't know what he was doing at 20. But yeah, there are. Yeah, I mean, it's not impossible to recover from an injury and have a good career. But Ferguson's been physically injured for 4 years. I don't think there's any reason. I don't think there's any reason to suspect that his injury record is going to improve. There's an old saying in football: the best indication of a player's resistance to injury is his past injuries. And it ain't looking good.
Did you just make that up?
No. I've never heard that saying before.
People like me that actually are involved in football in the real world, we get to hear these things.
How about this? If we sign Ferguson, it means that we won't sign Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Now that's a compelling argument.
No, I'll go with you on that, Rob. I will go with you on that.
I'm good with that.
You found the one player that I prefer Ferguson to.
Leave it there on a high.
All right, let's move on to the next super chat. Poison Soup with the £5. He says, it's like Rob wants us to be relegated next season. Are you going to go?
Yeah, I get my on that one, bro.
Poison, I was going to say that because I've got a conspiracy still that Rob was such a Cooper sympathizer that he doesn't want Nuno to work out and he wants us relegated.
Oh, he's going for like proper deep dark web stuff there.
Well, you know what? When I was first on this channel 18 months ago, I said Chris Wood was good and you all thought he was completely shit.
No, when you were first on this channel, you said Cooper in even if we get relegated, mate. Don't try.
You were right.
So you got to remember when I was
shit. You were right. At the time, he was shit.
Under Cooper.
We weren't wrong at the time.
Yeah. Facts.
I still haven't had an apology, by the way, 3 stars. It's been like 3 or 4 months now.
What, Lemmy or me?
Lemmy.
I apologise all the time.
Soch says, we've been rejected by 2 players. Why are you chirping? We've made 4 bids. What about Marcus Gay? Are we just going to ignore that one, Sophia? That never happened last summer.
Because I'm a reactionary, mardy, silly, immature man. That's why.
Okay. There is loads to talk about, but we've gone like an hour and a half, man. Like, I'll put the rest into a video for you guys tomorrow. There's so much more to cover. I didn't even get started on the Danilo stuff. So
yeah, and also, guys, do have your alerts on because he does put out videos at 1 a.m. Mark's last 2 videos. What the hell, bro? And the alerts pop up as well, waking me up. I thought, I've got to watch this now. I know I can't go to sleep without watching it.
So, I'm averaging 3.5 hours sleep at the moment, man. It's like 3.5 hours sleep is absolutely crazy. Just a quick reminder: if you want I find it for me the best source of information is the WhatsApp updates. Because it's better than going on Twitter or Instagram because you're scrolling through all the other crap and what have you. This is all just pure Forest stuff. So if you're not in the WhatsApp group, I think there's nearly 2,500.
Can I just say that's flying at the moment because we only mentioned it 2-3 streams ago, and it was we were trying to get to 1,000, and that's flowing. So guys, keep doing that because, like Wolfie just said, if you just want quick, fingertip news, that's the best way to get it. And shout out to our boy as well,
Richard's determined.
Monk, for doing all that behind the scenes because that's been fantastic. But yeah, guys, keep doing that, and that's the best way for you to get your news instantly. And
can I slightly disagree? The best way is to watch Wolfie's update videos. That's the best way. But when he's not able to do that, then
quickest way. I meant quickest way.
The quickest way
because like one of his videos, man. Sorry.
Yeah, unless like I can go straight live instead, but you got to edit the video, put it together. So, and look, this is it. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's just all the updates. It's not very clear. You just flick through. It's all Forest. You don't see any Bonnie Blues or there or anything like that. So just go, and it's in your.
Don't put them off.
It's in your. If you're in WhatsApp, just go to the update section at the bottom, and it will be right there with all the Forest news. So let me see how many are in there now. There are nearly 2,300 in there. That's crazy numbers.
Amazing.
It doesn't share your information. Make sure you react as well to the post so we know you're reading them all. But yeah, go do that now if you're not. The link's pinned in the chat for you guys there. All right, we'll be back with so many videos, man. As Ez just said, get those notifications on, because if it happens at 2 in.the morning, it's coming out at 2 in.the morning. Okay, so pause. We will see you then. Make sure you've hit the like button. Should we go and troll
Don't
someone?
forget to support Super Gas Bras.
Grass bras. Yeah.
Get your Super Gas Bras tomorrow.
So listen, our boys Copish are live right now doing a stream on Jota.
Oh, no, I can't watch that.
So well, I'm just gonna send you guys there.
upsetting.
Just show them some love and support. Let's get some RIP Jotas in their chat. Honestly, they are some of the, even Ant would agree, the boys from Copish, despite who they support.
I hate it when Liverpool or Man U fans are decent. It sends me Eddie to sort of
guys.
Yeah, I get that with Dan as well. But
Dan,
no, I'll tell you, it's Dan live. I think Dan's going live. Dan, the Man U fan, is going. He started his new channel.
He's a super nice guy, and he's so sensible about
live.
Manchester United. It's frightening.
That one does drive me crazy. Let me see if I can send you over to Dan. 1 second, because I told him to turn his redirects on. If he hasn't, I'll kill him. He hasn't done it. Right, we're gonna send you over to Copish. Just put in some RIP Jotas in there. We'll see you on the video. And come on, you Reds.
You Reds.